Hi. Hello, Augusta. Good evening. We'll just wait for I promised everybody on the group that today's class was going to be 30 minutes and I'm going to keep to my words. So we'll just wait for maybe 30 to 45 seconds. Less than a minute, then we'll just start. Let me just message them on the group to tell them that we're live. Okay. So I just dropped a message on the group to tell everybody that we're live. Hello, Essay. How was your day? How was your week? Um, any second now, I'm going to be starting. So, you guys that are on here, how was your week? Let me share my let me share my screen so you guys can see what we're working with today. Okay, so I hope you guys had like a fruitful week and everything. Yeah, my week was okay. It wasn't as fruitful as I would have loved it, but it was still a good week. I'm very grateful to God for life. Yeah, I miss you guys too. I don't know, but I definitely want to make the group more engaging. I'm actively working on it, but I need a little bit more energy from you guys so that it's not like I'm talking into the void. Funny enough, today's energy was really nice, but like I would need that consistently so that it's not like I'm putting in effort and there are not a lot of people that are benefiting from it or whatnot. It's not like the few people that do engage, they are not important. Everybody matters to me. Every single person is important. And I appreciate the OGs that are always here every week actually. So without further ado, right? Today's the plan for today is a practical session because most people actually do struggle with styling their hair, and I was a bit confused on how it was going to go. And what I mean by that is, I was thinking maybe I would style my hair live and answer questions from you guys. And then I thought a lot of people, when they see me working with my hair, there's always this assumption that, because my hair is longer, I can do a lot more stuff than most of them can, right? Which is not true. So I thought I want to keep myself away from the focus and just like drop some pointers and then you guys talk. And if there is any need for me to like get into my hair, I would. But I feel like if I have to get into my hair, it would extend the time that we have for the class. So without further ado, my name is Izigwe. You can call me Easy because I'm here to make your hair grow journey easy. I am the founder of Uden Okuta, and my life's mission and purpose is to produce wonderful products that help to simplify hair care, especially for people with Afro textured hair, and to also teach and educate women on how best to take care of their hair, women and men actually, on how best to take care of their hair and, just how to be confident and accepting of themselves and all the good stuff. So that's why we're here. Okay, so we're quickly going to go into what the slides have for us. So we're talking about like the most important thing you need to get on deck. There are actually a couple of things for a perfect hairstyle, and then we're going to talk about how to get um, hairstyle inspiration, and then we're also going to talk about like the perfect hairstyle for you. Okay, so let's just quickly dive into our slides for today. Okay. Okay. So, first things first, right? Most people, when they attempt to try a style, correct me if I'm wrong, or please let me know. But when you want to do a style, right? When you've gotten an inspiration or there's something that you want to try out that you saw that you liked, Even though you may have saved the picture a while back, it is usually impromptu. That is, you wake up on the day thereof that you've done it, or maybe the day you're just in your hair. Yes, say you just washed your hair, and then you go like, I want to do this style. I want to try and achieve this style. You don't really know what the person's hair routine is, what the person's hair type is that is doing that style. You just decide that you're going to do it, and you've watched a 2 minute video or a 1 minute video, which is really just an abridged version of what the person had to go through to achieve that style. And then you say, you know what, I can do this. Then you start doing your hair, and what happens when you start doing your hair is that you're probably dealing with tangles, your hair isn't coming out like the way it looked in the video, and you're just confused and frustrated. And then you tell yourself, it's always like this, it's always what I ordered versus what I got. My hairstyles just never come out looking good. I don't know how these people that are on YouTube and social media and whatever that always post these videos looking fly, I don't know how they achieve it. Well, that's the first mistake you make. So first things first, right? I do not advise anybody to attempt to style their hair on wash day, right? So the general topic for this is the most important step to a perfect hairstyle. The most important step to a perfect hairstyle is actually your hair, right? No matter what it is, your hair has to be in like prime condition for that hairstyle. So now, what do I mean by prime condition for that hairstyle? There are some hairstyles that look better with hair that hasn't been washed in a week, like 1 week old hair. There are some hairstyles that look better with 2 week old hair, right? There are some hairstyles that I wouldn't advise anybody to go beyond 2 weeks when you're trying to achieve some most hairstyles, or the hairstyles that I've had in my experience. But once your hair starts getting past that 3 week mark, there's a lot of product build up. There's a lot of product build up. Your hair has probably started to shrink. Your hair isn't at the right amount of moisture, like softness ratio to, like, it's not giving. And then there are probably already tangles that you haven't gotten into, right? So you should not be working on freshly washed hair, and you should not be working on hair that is too old. Now let me give you some tips on how you should know the sweet spot, right? But a lot of people get disappointed with the hairstyles that they're trying to achieve because they are starting from freshly washed hair. And the main reason why that happens, why it's as if they get disappointed from freshly washed hair, is that it is very unpredictable. I'll explain. Because of shrinkage, right? For somebody like me, I don't know. There are some pictures I have out there where you actually see my hair shrunking. It's not fully shrunking, right? It's like, still wet, but it's to my shoulder, but my hair goes down my waist, right? So if I'm just freshly washing my hair, I'm just introducing moisture to my hair. I've just introduced hydration to my hair. So my hair is like very happy. It shrinks on itself, and it is just a whole lot harder to work with hair like that. The tendency for you to get frustrated with hair like that is very high, right? So that is why I advise, if you're starting out, if you've not mastered the art of styling your hair, like it's not something you can just do effortlessly within 5 minutes and just go and you have compliments on your hair. Don't style your hair on wash day. Don't plan your hairstyle around wash day. This is what you should do instead. Now, your wash day should be focused on cleansing your hair and reintroducing the nutrients and moisture that it has lost as a result of the shampooing process. That is what your wash day should be focused on. So you need to prioritize keeping your hair clean, keeping your scalp clean, and then making sure that your hair has, absorbed the maximum amount of moisture. How do you achieve this? If you are low porosity, don't play with heat. I talk about this all the time. Do not play with heat, right? Be more heavy handed with your water based products. Make sure you warm it. It should be warm, it should be hot. Even if you're spritzing water, the water you're spritzing on your hair should actually be hot too. Yes. Now, when you're applying your butters on wash day, you can afford to be a little bit heavy handed, because if you do it right on wash day, you don't actually need to re-moisturize your hair for another five, sorry, another 7 to 10 days if you're low porosity. So you can afford to be a little heavy handed on the day you're washing your hair so that you don't have to re-moisturize all throughout those days. Now, the next thing you have to do, now this tip is for both low porosity and high porosity hair. Make sure that you keep your hair stretched. Don't wash your hair and leave it in a puff. Don't wash your hair and leave it in a puff. Like whether it's a top puff, it's a low puff, it's a side puff, it's two puffs. Always on wash day, if you want to get the best out of moisture, wash your hair, moisturize your hair, and keep it in a stretch style. How do you achieve that? You can achieve that through threading. You can achieve that through braiding, like one braids, 6 braids, or 8 braids, depending on the length of your hair. You can achieve that through twists. Now, twists don't give the best stretch. So I would not really advise them if you're trying to stretch your hair naturally without adding heat. But threading and braiding, then cornrows, like 2 big cornrows, 3 big cornrows, they give your hair maximum amount of stretch. Now, if your hair is high porosity, right, you basically follow all these steps. You don't particularly need to use heat, right? But of course, go heavy with your water based conditioner, and then also follow up with a whole lot of butter. Now, this is the third thing that you need to do for high porosity hair to really make sure that your cuticles stay closed and it's locked up, right? You use pH. What does that mean? You use something that changes the pH of your hair. So something like aloe vera, something like ACV. I have a recipe on my page, right? And you can use the same method. Okay, actually for aloe vera, because aloe vera's pH is closer to 4, you can use aloe vera with just directly on your hair, and it's actually safe to use for your hair, right? So you finish your conditioning, your moisturizing process with a pH balancer, right? pH balance, ACV spritz, or aloe vera. Then you put it in a stretch style. Braids, cornrows, or threading, right? Make sure you knot your end, because those guys always want to shrink up. Those guys have the most split ends. So if you just leave them, they're going to cause a lot of trouble for you. Now, before you put that hair in braids, I cannot emphasize this enough. Detangle. Like your comb should just glide through your hair. It is so important. And when we go for that, I'll explain why. But you should detangle your hair to the point where it's just gliding through. So now what I do, right, because detangling too much can actually lead to breakage. So what I do is every step of my wash day, I finger detangle. When I am moisturizing is the only time that I use my brush. And now, when I'm using that brush, I really go in and I make sure to comb my hair from roots. Like it needs to slide through all the way from the roots down. Right? I have a video on the time. You can watch that one for reference. I talked about all the different brushes that I use and which one was the best. But make sure you don't play about your detangling. Now, once you've done all this, leave your hair to dry. You've moisturized you've detangled your hair, you've moisturized your hair, you've kept it in a stretch style, leave your hair to dry. Now you can afford to, if you want to maybe style your hair the next day, you can afford to style it the next day, or you can afford to style it 3 days after, 4 days after. Just leave the hair to dry. For loopers, say for example, like me, my hair doesn't dry the next day. It takes a little bit longer, but leave your hair to dry. But even if it's not completely dry the next day, if with low porosity hair, you can still style it in that state, right? But it's best, like for best results, leave your hair to dry in that stretch state. Now, the next tip, please and please and please and please and please and please, a recipe for frustration, a recipe for disaster is styling your hair on like a style you've never done before, a hairstyle you've never tried before. You do it like, let's say you're going out on a date, you're hanging out with the girls, or you're going out on a date with, this fine bobo that is toasting you or whatever. Whatever, I'm all for that. But Sha, you really have this outing that you're going to, that you've really anticipated, right? And then you have the outing by 2 o'clock, and then you dilly dally, and then you decide to start doing your hair by like 1:45. You'll be frustrated. Don't do that. If you've never done a hairstyle before, you don't know what the dynamic, unless you're an OG. Oh. If you're an OG, that's like me now. This hair, I did it in less than 5 minutes. Sorry, excuse me. If you're an OG, by all means, do that. If you're not an OG, if you're someone who is just starting, if you don't want to have what I ordered versus what I got, please do the hairstyle a day before and wear a silk scarf, because you're trying something new. You're trying something you've never tried before. So if you don't get it, the stakes are too high when it's on the same day. Or you're going to church on Sunday, your service is by 8 o'clock, it's 7:50. You want to no, no, right? Like I said, unless you're an OG. Now, the next thing is you kind of have to know your hair, right? You have to know your hair, you have to know your shrinkage rate, and you have to know your face. Now, what do I mean by knowing your hair? There are times when you you're trying to achieve a particular kind of hairstyle, right? And you need to have your, for this is what I experience, right? Before, it used to be very easy to achieve a puff, but now for me to achieve a puff that looks like a puff, I have to do like 2 layers, right? I have to first use wool to put my hair in a puff, and then I like push it up, and then use a band, an outless band for the second layer, because my puff, because my hair is longer, my puff kind of just falls, right? It doesn't go up. So what I do to be able to still give me that puff effect is that once I keep it a little bit higher, right? And I let it all out, it's still hanging down. But because I know my hair and I understand how my shrinkage works, I spray a little bit of water on the tips, and then it gives me that round, full look. Now, this is an example of what knowing your hair and your shrinkage rate can do for you, right? So you know how quickly my hair, my hair loves to shrink. Most people with like tight coiled fussy hair, their hair loves to shrink, right? So if you know that on a normal day, your hair length is down to your back, or your hair length is down here, and when your hair shrinks is down here, you should probably not be playing around with water too much when you're styling your hair. Even if the hairstyle calls for water, you probably shouldn't drench your hair. Maybe you should wet your hands first before going to the hair. I hope that makes sense, right? Now, another thing is, a lot of times the reason why people get what I ordered versus what I got is that they do the hairstyle, but they're actually hoping that they get the look the other person did. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but you're doing the hairstyle, but you're not doing the hairstyle with the anticipation of how it's going to look on you. You're doing the hairstyle with the anticipation of looking like that person, right? And I feel like that is a big no-no, right? Why? Because people have different skin tones, people have different face shapes, and it affects how hairstyles look on different people, and of course different hair lengths, different porosity, and all those things, right? But let's leave all those porosity talk aside. But your face doesn't look the same way as that person's face, right? So now, as a girl, right, you already know, for most girls, you already know what looks nice on you. You already know what, like, when you want to slay, when you want to roll heads, you already know the best hairstyle that fits your face shape, right? For me, right, I don't know, you guys might not agree with this, but for me personally, my hair always looks really amazing. Like, not just my hair, my face, right? When I pull my hair up, like the way it is right now, right? I feel like it's the most complimentary hair for me, right? Other people disagree, but that's what I think, right? So if I want to do low effort, I don't want to stress myself, I need to go somewhere and I need to look good. The first thing I'm going to go to is hairstyle that is pulled back and accentuates my face like this. Why? Because I know my face shape and I know what hairstyles work with my face shape, right? So you have to first know what is flattering for you. All these things, right? They seem like small things, but they make such a huge difference. Such a huge difference. I hope you guys are following. Already behind time, so I'm just going to rush through this part. Okay, so next slide, Pinterest your weight awesomeness. We don't really need to talk about this too much. If you are looking for hairstyle inspiration, you need something that is really going to help you because you don't know what to do with your hair. Just go to Pinterest. Fussy hairstyles for short hair, fussy hair, like just keep searching. You will find something that works for you. Now, a lot of times, right? You might not find one hairstyle that does everything that you need, but you need to learn how to mix and match. Okay, so let me give an example with actually this picture that is on this slide. See this third picture of the girl holding up her phone. There was a hairstyle that I did 2 weeks ago. It was inspired by the front part of this girl's hairstyle, right? The other part was something, the back was something completely different, but the front was inspired by. So I combined like two different hairstyles to be able to create that style. I think it's the style that's one of the styles that is on the thumbnail of this video, right? That one that has the bun in like bubble. I don't know what it's called. Bubble. I don't know. But sha, it was a combination of this style and that, right? And I just felt like, oh, that would work, and it came out nice. So you have to play around. You have to try things. But like I said, please do it. Try styles when you are not a day where you don't have to rush to go to the place, right? Where you have ample time to try the style. And then a lot of times, right, when you're trying a style, it may not always come out the way you imagined, the way you anticipated, but you have to always know how to pivot. You have to always know how to pivot. Sometimes, like, okay, for example, this particular hairstyle, right? This one, I have like a little gemstone in the middle of my head. This particular hairstyle was not the hairstyle I intended for it to be. I tried doing the original thing that I had in mind, but it did not come out the way I wanted it to. I gave it a day because, like I said, low stakes. I didn't do it on the day when I was going somewhere. So it did not come out the way I wanted it to come out. Then the next morning, I just suddenly had inspiration and I decided to try it. Now I was able to get the beads on, but I had two twists, but I was only able to get the bead on one twist. And I was just like, I'm just going to have to make this work. And that's how this style came out. Sure, if I'm doing this style now, if I'm doing a tutorial, I will just do it, and in less than 2 minutes you see the style and you think that this was the original style I had in mind. No, it was not. So you kind of have to learn to just wing it. It's a learning curve with natural hair, and it's actually beautiful because when you try something and it doesn't work out and you just tweak it to make it look nice, you might actually just be the next trendsetter. That's the beautiful thing about us black girls. That's why we're so, like, that's why everybody copies us, because we're so creative, it oozes from our blood. Yeah. So Pinterest is your best friend. Pinterest is your best friend. I don't know if maybe I should share my board. I have a board, um, my personal hairstyling inspiration, where I just share stuff that I just keep. Anytime I see stuff that I like, I just keep it there. So if you guys are interested in me sharing my board, because I'm always updating it, then I can share my board with you guys on the group. Yeah, so that is all. Like I said, I didn't want this class to be more than 30 minutes, and we're about to, it's almost 30 minutes, so I have to quickly wrap up. Now, this last thing that I'm about to say, or this last two slides, right? They're not directly related to hairstyling, but they are very important because the most powerful outfit, the most powerful, most beautiful hairstyle or outfit or look that you can ever put together is your flipping confidence. If you don't feel confident, if you don't feel like you're good enough or your hair is good enough, if you always want another person's hair, then 9 out of 10 times you're not going to feel confident. You might have done a hairstyle you did for the first time and you're not really feeling like it's looking good, but you go out and then maybe you get some mixed comments, and then all of a sudden you internalize the negative comments, and then you tell yourself that, oh, I never get it right when it comes to styling my hair. My hair is just not good enough. I am here to tell you that the devil is a liar. That is not true. You are perfect. Okay. Now when I went natural, it wasn't as popular as it is now, right? I was really doing a daring thing. I cut my hair and I started from scratch, right? I explored not as much as I would have loved, but I explored a lot of things. And what that meant was that I was constantly always looking different. I was constantly always looking different. I would style my hair in a certain way, and people would make all sorts of comments. At some point somebody called me a voodoo priestess. I had so many people tell me, I should do something with my hair. But I'm like, girl, this hair is done. Don't play with me. So you need to be confident. You just need to wear it like the whole armor of God. Put it on. Girl, put it on. You need to be confident. You need to internalize the thought and the idea that you are beautiful and you're absolutely, ravishing as you are. No extra thing, because that's the reason why a lot of people have done some really amazing hairstyles and it never saw the light of day because they felt like, you know, it wasn't good enough, right? So now, guys, I'm going to close with this before I take questions, right? I'm going to close with these styling affirmations, and before I say this, I need to. Tomorrow is Valentine, and it's supposed to be the day of love. And a lot of people are going to get presents. Social media is going to tension us, and there is that tendency to feel like you're not enough, or feel like you know have that need for external validation. So I'm just here to remind you and let you know that you are perfect just the way you are. Like, you are perfect just the way you are. You're not too much, you're not too less, you're just right. You're just right, you're amazing, right? Now, how did I come up with these affirmations? Before, like I said, I'm so sorry. I'm just kind of freaking out because I don't want the time to pass 30 minutes. But I think I've always talked to you guys about, or I've always said it, that my business is actually divinely inspired. And that was also me starting the Hair Growth 101 group was also by divine inspiration, right? And this month, the Holy Spirit has really impressed on me to talk about just healing your broken heart. And I have had my own fair share of broken hearts, and what I have found, right, is just loving me and accept, not just loving but accepting me and pouring into myself, right? So that is where this first affirmation comes from. You are the best and most important project you ever work on. A lot of people will do everything for everyone but themselves. Because if that's not the case, why is it okay to spend so much time doing one thing for A and doing another thing for B? But oh, just give some time to yourself to do your hair, and oh, it's too stressful. Do give some time to yourself to, improve your appearance, to work on your skin, to work on your health. I can do that. Is to what? Are you telling me you're not worth the time? If you're not going to take the time to nurture you and love you, what do you think that is signaling to other people in the world? What do you think that's telling them? If you're not going to invest in you, you're signaling to the world, you're signaling to other people and your romantic partners, even your friendships, you're telling them, I am not worth the time. If I'm not going to invest in me, obviously they're not going to invest in you. People don't treat you how you deserve, they treat you how they are. So you have to treat yourself how you see yourself. You're the best project you will ever work on. So make it count. Give the world a show, like give the world a fantabulous show, because you're amazing. And the crazy thing is that this is something that has to come from within, because if you it's not a second person job. Loving yourself, building your confidence, looking beautiful. It's not, another person can do it for you, no matter how much another person is going to hype you. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to believe it. I'm not saying you should be cocky. I'm not saying you should be egotistic, but loving yourself, it's a whole nother level, man. It's a whole nother level. So yeah, you're worth the effort it takes to actually learn and take care of you, including the time it takes to learn your hair and take care of your hair. Like when you invest in yourself, it always shows and you're always better off for it. Now, next one. You're so precious, the creator of the universe knows the number of hair strands on your head. I mean, I would also add that you're so important, you're so precious that every single day there's one person. I wake up every day and I'm constantly thinking about how do I make hair care easier, better, faster for women with Afro textured hair. How do I do that? I'm constantly thinking, how do I do that? So that's how important you are. And I'm doing this because God sent me to. This is my life's work. This is my life's mission. But you're important. You're important. You matter. Okay? So you better start acting like you're important to somebody. Somebody very important. If that makes any sense. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit. Oh my God, I have passed 30 minutes. I'm panicking. Okay, last but not least, you are and will always be enough. Let's not talk too much. Let's just let that marinate silently. And I will take your questions. Do you have any questions? Um, to be honest, I have more tips when it comes to styling. So I think next week I'm going to do a part two of this class, because next week I'll now be talking about the tools that I feel like every fussy hair girl should have. So I'll talk about that. And maybe next week we will now have a practical session where I'm doing my hair and showing you guys, so that you guys can work with me, do your hair at the same time I'm doing my hair. I really don't know how that would work, but let's see how it goes. So, any questions, guys? Any question? Any question? Okay. I don't think there's any questions, so I'm just going to let this just do like 30 more seconds. Okay. Any extra tips for girls with thin strands but full hair? That's actually me. I have fine strands, but my hair is full. So you really have to work on not putting so much tension on your hair. So as soon as this live class ends now, I'm going to take the wool. There's literally wool on this hair. I'm going to take it out because I can't sleep like this. It's too much tension on my hair, right? So try not to put any tension. Try not to use like heavy stuff on it. Um, Try not to do hairstyles that are too tiny, because with fine strands, when the hairstyles are too tiny, it's just a whole lot of difficulty taking it down. And then of course you need to keep your hair moisturized, infuse a lot of strengthening treatments, Um, what else would I advise for? Okay, yes, I try to do this thing with hairstyling where no matter the style that I'm doing, right, I always try to keep my ends in a stretch style. So what I mean is, so sometimes I rock my puff, right, and it will shrink, and that's like potential for single strand knots. So what I do is, as soon as I'm back and I know I'm not even if I know I'm leaving the house again, but I know all my ceremony has finished, right? I'm going to make sure I twist up my ends, right? I'm going to make sure my ends are twisted up or braided up, so essentially, they're stretched. So because they're not in that shrunken state, they don't have that same the tendency for forming single strand knots, and it's not there. So you reduce breakage so much by doing that, and then always make sure you um you walk ahead of the moisture curve. Don't wait till your hair is dry before you reapply moisture. So if you walk with your hair regularly and you touch your hair regularly, you know when your hair is at level 10 moisture, and then you know when it starts moving from level 10 to level 9 to level 8. So once it gets to somewhere around level 3, you should start working on moisturizing. You shouldn't wait till it gets to like 0 or -1 before you think about moisturizing, because if you wait till that point, it's already too late. You've probably already lost some hair. So I hope I answered your question. So if I did, that would be all for today. Thank you guys so much for joining. I will see you guys next week. Also, so I want to, I'm creating something, right? It's going to be a hair care journal, right? We're really serious about growing our hair longer and healthier and doing all these amazing things. So I'm creating a hair journal alongside an ebook. That ebook is like this, but I'm creating a hair journal, right? And the first set of people that are going to get their hands on that journal are the people on the group, but there's a caveat, right? So you have to be like a customer. You have to have bought one of or a couple of our products. Why? Because those tips will work best for you when you use our products, you know. I don't make the rules. Actually, I do, but those tips will actually work better when you use our product. So, to get the journal and the book, you need to have purchased our products or currently using our products. It will work best, and then you have access to the book for free. I was thinking about creating another group where we'll just have people more engaged there, but I think we'll just keep it on this group. But to get access to that ebook, you're going to have purchased products. So that's what we're doing. It will be ready by the end of the month. So without further ado, I'm so sorry we're 8 minutes over time. But without further ado, that will be the end of today's class. Thank you guys so much for joining. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to share. You have some friends that need this, share it with them. Thank you very much. I will see you guys next week, and I will see you guys on the group before next week. Bye, and happy Valentine's Day in advance. Bye.